So back in 2025, something really weird started happening in B2B marketing. Email lists, they were getting bigger and bigger, but for some reason, the bank accounts weren't. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly why that was happening and how the smartest brands completely flipped the script, turning their email lists from just a vanity metric into a real predictable revenue machine. Let's dive in. This right here was the question on every single marketer's mind. I mean, you're doing everything you're supposed to, right? Your subscriber count is climbing, you're adding fresh contacts, but then the sales team tells you the leads are cold and that revenue needle just isn't moving. It was this massive, super frustrating puzzle. So what was really going on? Well, this situation got a name: the growth paradox. It's that baffling disconnect between a list that's getting bigger and revenue that's, well, staying flat. To solve it, we first have to really get to the root cause. To really get the paradox, you have to remember how much the world had changed. During the pandemic, marketers had this captive audience, right? Everyone's working from home, the market was way less saturated, and honestly, just blasting out more emails, it kind of worked. But by 2025, man, that was ancient history. Inboxes had become a total war zone, and your prospects had absolutely zero tolerance for anything that wasn't perfectly relevant to them. The old playbook was officially dead. This quote from the analysis just absolutely nails it. The game had fundamentally changed. It wasn't about how many people you could reach anymore. It was all about how deeply you could resonate with the right people. And that single insight, that was the dividing line between the brands that were struggling and the ones that were just taking off. So how did the smart brands solve this puzzle? It all started with a really fundamental shift in their mindset. This was the turning point that separated the winners from the losers, and believe me, it's simpler than you might think. The old way was all about that vanity metric. You know the one. The goal was just to report a big, impressive number in a meeting. Hey everyone, we grew the list to 50,000 subscribers this quarter. It looked great on a slide, but it had almost no connection to the company's actual bottom line. The new way flipped this completely on its head. The winning brands started treating their email list as a dedicated revenue channel, period. Every single activity, every new contact, every campaign was judged by one simple question: does this directly help us generate sales? Now, this new mindset wasn't just a theory, it became a full-on playbook. So let's break down the 7 core strategies that these high-performing B2B brands used to turn their email lists into actual revenue machines. That's right, just 7. And these strategies weren't necessarily super complex or expensive, but what they did require was discipline and a relentless focus on revenue above everything else. Okay, the first 3 basically built the entire foundation. Number 1, they stopped casting a wide net. Instead, they used targeted data to find their perfect customers. It makes sense, right? You can't sell a steak to a vegetarian. Number 2, and this is so key, they segmented their lists before sending a single email. This made sure every message was hyper-relevant from the very first touch. And third, they treated data quality like a bouncer at an exclusive club. Only verified, high-quality contacts were allowed in. And the results? Well, they speak for themselves. I mean, just look at this chart. The broad, unsegmented sends were like a ghost town. Super low engagement, poor quality leads. But the pre-segmented sends, that was a party the sales team was dying to get an invite to. We're talking high engagement and leads they could actually close. The next 4 strategies were all about scaling that success. Number 4 was huge, breaking down that wall between sales and marketing. When they finally started talking to each other, magic happened. 5 was about speaking the local language, using US-specific data for US customers to boost relevance. 6 was a real game changer. Instead of trying to land 100 new accounts, they focused on getting 100 new qualified contacts within their top 10 existing accounts. And finally, number 7, the ultimate truth serum, they stopped caring about list size and started obsessing over revenue. And that sales alignment piece, oh, it was a total game changer. All of a sudden, sales actually trusted the leads they were getting from marketing. The handoff became seamless, and marketing knew exactly which segments were hitting home runs, so they could just pour gasoline on that fire. Now, if you look at all 7 of those powerful strategies, you start to realize they all stand on one single pillar. Without this foundation, the whole system just collapses. And that foundation is data quality. You say, in this new playbook, data quality wasn't just about, cleaning the list once a quarter. No, it was totally redefined as a strategic growth filter. It became the gatekeeper that made sure only high potential, relevant, and deliverable contacts ever entered the marketing funnel in the first place.
So how did they maintain this pristine quality? Well, many brands partnered with reputable data providers. They looked for specialists who could supply not just contacts, but signals. Things like intent data that shows who's actively researching your solution, or technographic data that shows what software a company uses. That, combined with guaranteed verified emails and regular data cleansing, created a constant stream of high-potential leads.
So what's the one big takeaway from all of this? It's pretty simple, actually. Strategy, not scale. The goal was no longer to have the biggest list in the industry, but to have the most profitable one. And this is the most empowering part of the whole story. The brands that really won this new game, they weren't necessarily the ones with the biggest budgets or the largest teams. Nope, they were the ones with the smartest strategy. They made a conscious choice to prioritize revenue impact over those empty vanity metrics. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Take a really honest look at your own email marketing efforts. Are they designed just to build a bigger list? Or is every single action you take specifically designed to build your business? The answer to that could be the difference between just surviving and actually thriving in the years to come. Thanks for tuning in.